Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is your man. Who did it? Who did it this time? Oh, how they forgot. Oh, how they forgot. Oh, man. So I'm sitting here watching Tampa Bay with the new addition of Antonio Hollywood Brown. AB. Mr. Electric. Pick a nickname, it probably suits him. They got AB now. Obviously, in the beginning of the year, they had Tom Brady, Tom Terrific. I believe the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, if not top 5. I'm sure it's debatable. They have arguably one of the top 5 tight ends to ever play the game, Gronkowski. And then they have an up-and-coming tight end, O.J. Howard, who did get hurt, but he's still on their roster. You have the young man out of LSU who just got released from the Jaguars. And the starting running back is the 4th leading rusher right now in the NFL. On the defensive side, you have Jordan Whitehead, who I've been watching play since Pee-wees. I could tell you all a short story. I seen that cat play in 7th grade, and I was just telling this story the other day when we were moving. There was a Wake Forest scout and Rutgers scout offering him a full ride, man, in 7th grade. And we call it midgets. Some people call it Pop Warner. He was that special, man. Just a man among boys. He's their starting strong or free safety. One of you brothers can correct me if I'm wrong. You still have Sue. All that to be said, oh, how they forgot. On paper, this definitely looks like a dream team. Y'all remember the last dream team they called in the football, in the NFL? The 2011 Eagles. Wow. Michael Vick, backup quarterback. Vince Young, who a lot of people may make him the butt of their joke. Vince Young was a bad man. LaShawn Shady McCoy. Deshaun Jackson. Macklin, along with Avant, was their trio. None of them, I think, were over 6'2", but they were all like real short bursts, except for Deshaun Jackson, who could burn you long. Just a great wide receiver core. You had Selleck at tight end. On the defense, you had Nnamdi Asomugha, who at one time they were saying was the best corner in football, even when Revis and a young Richard Sherman was still in the league, Champ Bailey, and I believe Charles Woodson was just about to get switched to safety. Nnamdi Asomugha, Asante Samuel, who was a great cornerback. You had all these guys on one team. And I remember Vince Young and Mike Vick might have chimed in, this is the dream team. And as a Cowboy fan at the time, I'm not a fan of any man now that I've come to the knowledge that we are not supposed to be fans. Fan is short for fanatic. I'm not crazy about any man, and if they lose or win, I'll be okay. But at one time I was a Cowboy fan. I would like to say that I still support the Cowboys, and that's my squad, even though they playing like you know what. Listen, the Eagles were supposed to sweep through that conference and win a Super Bowl hands down. They underachieved, man. But just like the LA Clippers of this year in the bubble, which is a different sport, but we can keep it on target, sometimes there's too many egos, man. If everybody's walking around like they Tom Brady, or in the Clippers case, everybody's Kawhi, or back in the Eagle day, everybody is question mark, because all of them was Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl bound, but none of them was Super Bowl champions. They fell short. Look it up. 2011 Eagles. Mike Vick, LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, who used to break punts, running backwards, acting a fool. Again, his other 2 wide receivers, Avant and Macklin, them dudes didn't drop nothing. They fell short though, man, because in football, unlike basketball, one game in the playoffs. One game, you off, you're out of there. Shoot, we can even go to the New York Giants a couple years ago when Mr. Odell Beckham took his boys on a yacht to took his boys on a yacht trip. Sus. Yeah. They fell short. So I hope Tampa Bay doesn't become another story of just underachieving, similar to the 2011 Heatles. I just mentioned it before, the 2020 Bubble Clippers, who they should break up a little bit. The 2000 Portland Trailblazers, Scottie Pippen, Steve Smith, Isaiah Ryder, Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, Sabonis, Little Damon Stoudemire, Stacey Augmon. The team was loaded. And there was some crazy calls at the end as a Laker guy back then. I hate the Lakers now, but back then, yeah, there was some suspect calls. But nevertheless, you have enough talent to get it done. But just like this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, I ain't trying to hear nothing. I was all on board for rooting for Tampa Bay behind the scenes, just because I get tired of the whole GOAT talk. I feel like they low-key jab at Tom and don't really try to acknowledge the fact that he is 43. But that says something about your league, or it says something about the training regimen or routine or vitamins or steroids. Oops. Something is going on in this game that these dudes are still playing that long. But I rock with Tom. I always have. I like them. I love the underdog story. So Tom Brady fits that criteria. But what seems to be out of the norm, once they added Antonio Brown, that could cause a little bit of dissension in the locker room. Not outwardly and not on purpose, y'all. But subliminally, all them dudes got egos. Mike Evans and Godwin, them brothers, man, in their own right, they're not as good as AB. But they got something going right now. Now, I know that Mike Evans takes a hit from the media, especially the sports liberal media. And I don't know if it's because his background. If you guys get a chance, you all should Google or try to sit down and look up Mike Evans' story. It's a little bit or Aaron Hernandez like, not necessarily the tragic ending, but just the childhood upbringing. Mike Evans comes from a broken home, like a lot of brothers, but his case is a little bit severe. I want to say his father and his mom both was part of some domestic tragic ending, but I don't want to spill the beans, and I also don't want to be misquoted. Mike Evans has a lot of issues off the field. So I feel like sometimes when it looks like maybe he's running the wrong route, they can't wait to put it on him. And I do think Tom gets protected sometimes by the media. All that being said, man, I don't want to be misquoted. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is similar to the daggone 2011 Eagles. Oh, how they forgot. Now, I'm not trying to hear any excuses. Yeah, Tom's 43, but that's a lot of weapons, man. That's a lot of weapons. Matter of fact, Tom got more weapons than Ben Roethlisberger. I believe he has more weapons than Aaron Rodgers. If Dak was healthy, I think Dak and Tom got pretty much the same amount of weapons. Because on paper, I'm only talking about on paper. Oh, Matt Ryan got a lot of weapons. But these dudes can't also play defense. Football is a team sport. Basketball is too. Baseball is. Congratulations to the Dodgers, by the way. Hockey is. We get that. They're all team sports. But football has a weird way of shift changing if the egos don't mesh right. It's almost like if you all have ever played football, or to all my female subscribers or listeners out there, if you have somebody in your family or your loved one or your significant other play football, he'll tell you. There are times where it just seems like everybody has an attitude, everybody's in a funk. At any given moment, a fight could break out. Not because we're uncontrollable animals. I don't want you to run with that. It's just a violent sport. And you're constantly being told where to go. Then you have a playbook. Then you have walkthrough. Then you have to study your own individual position. Then if you're a good player, you have to study your own playbook by yourself. So you're competing with yourself, obviously, from the very beginning, but then you have teammates that you go up against, the offense versus the defense. And Antonio Brown is very, very shaky at this moment. Mentally, I hope he's stable, but just his whole ego. Yes, he works hard. I will never take away that I've heard that young man works hard, and more importantly, I've seen enough clips to know, oh, he puts in the time. He has gifts from the Most High, but he also puts in the time. But that doesn't exclude by any means his lack of awareness and self-reflecting, as I said before in another video. AB has some serious self-reflecting. He has a narcissistic way of playing football. And though Tom has him in the crib and all that other stuff, at the end of the day, Tom wants to win. Tom and Gronk are champions. We get that. But I'm just going out on a limb. Some of this information is to be determined. We're only 7-8 games into the NFL season. We may not even get to finish it if this pandemic jump off again. But from what I can see, yes. Ooh, you're really taking a big leap if you say Tampa Bay's going to win it all. But don't forget that 2011 Eagle squad, y'all. D-Jack, Mike Vick, Shady, Nnamdi Asomugha, Asante Samuel, Selleck the tight end. Vince Young was a backup. I mean, when you got Vince Young as the backup, in case might get hurt, what you want me to tell you? And they fell short. All praises to the Most High. Thank you to all the listeners and subscribers. I hope you all have a very strong day. And today, take time, give thanks to God, man. Please do. That's about it, man. I just don't want y'all to forget. This is your man who did it this time. Signing off. Peace.
You ready for another beating? You should have never came back.